watching West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Anna Schleisman and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
A series of factors have delayed spring planting, and producers are feeling the pressure. A Solon farmer says he's usually done by this time, but just started planting today. Jordan Verdadero went to his farm to see what the delays were and how he's dealing with them.
George Langang says instead of walking the town with his wife for his birthday, they will be planting instead.
There's been a lot of years we've been done planting by now, and today we're only starting. So at some point this week, we'll have to switch from wheat to corn to try to get that into the days you need to have it growing during the season.
And Langang says he couldn't start planting earlier this year if he wanted to.
It's been just too tacky. Seed ends up on top of the ground, and just gotta wait, gotta have some patience.
He says he'll stick to the same rotation as last year.
The oats goes onto the corn ground and just on account of disease. And then we put wheat on the corn ground that was cut for silage, and we put corn on the wheat ground.
Langang added pricing for crop this year isn't good, and the trade war is putting stress on farmers and ranchers.
There isn't a whole lot of room to make any profit on it. So if you don't get it in timely and get a really good crop, a bumper crop, it's going to be hard to make any money at all on it.
He says he's worried for the next generation of farmers.
Nowadays, with the amount of money it takes to input a crop, you can't have a loss. It doesn't work like that anymore, not like it used to.
Langang optimistically says he and his family will do what they can, and all farmers and ranchers will continue to take it day by day. In Solon, I'm Jordan Verdadero reporting for your news leader.
Ag Commissioner Doug Goering says farmers in McKenzie County won't be able to plant at least 1,400 acres because of flooding. Ice jams along the Yellowstone River in late March flooded nearly 30 homes and a number of grain bins as well. The USDA approved the use of the Emergency Conservation Program, providing 75% cost share for restoration and repairs. Locally, the Bank of North Dakota is providing 2 loan programs for farmers and residents who have suffered losses. An accident on a farm in Glenburn had a farmer worried about how he would get everything done. An explosion nearly 2 weeks ago rocked Jim Peters' farm, and it's still out of commission during one of the busiest times of the year. Luckily, nonprofit Farm Rescue was there to help make sure his seeds get sown.
We move wherever the jobs are at, so I came up for 2 weeks to help out with my team here, and we'll move wherever the jobs are at.
The organization's president, Bill Gross, will be the Grand Marshal of this year's North Dakota State Parade. And Farm Rescue announced today they received a $975,000 grant from the Engelstad Foundation, bringing their total contributions to nearly $1.5 million. Farm Rescue thanked the Engelstad family, who says they're honored and proud to support the mission and see their contributions have a visible impact. Well, President Trump may have further delayed a trade agreement with China as he's talking tough 2 days before another round of negotiations are to begin. Rich Edson has more.
Ahead of resumed trade discussions with China, President Trump drops a new warning, threatening tariffs on $200 billion of Chinese imports. The United States is also sending 2 ships into disputed waters in the South China Sea, warning China as it expands its military presence there.
The U.S. wants China to meet that condition and contribute responsibly in the region. But China's words and actions raise doubts about its intentions.
In January, the president delayed tariff increases on Chinese imports while the U.S. and China negotiated to try to reach a broader trade agreement. President Trump now says China is stalling. The next round of discussions are scheduled for Wednesday here in Washington. Though on Monday, global markets fell sharply as investors worried about a new round of tariffs that could deepen an already escalated trade fight.
Donald Trump wants to put pressure on China, but I think he just achieved the opposite. He makes sure that he wrecked the trade deal completely.
And the White House maintains the president's tactics are working, and he's trying to address decades of what he says are unfair and illegal Chinese trade policies.
We will continue the tariffs. We believe that's in the best interest of the United States, and China has got to end its unfair, non-reciprocal trading system. They're breaking the laws.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry says it is seeking more information from the White House on the president's tariff warning. At the White House, Rich Edson, Fox News.
Are there any weather warnings, or will it be smooth sailing this week, Henry?
Well, for right now, conditions are nice across the viewing area, but we still have to prepare for severe weather if and when that time comes. In fact, in Surrey, North Dakota, tomorrow evening, there will be a Skywarn meeting held at City Hall at 6:30 p.m. this Tuesday. That address is 100 Pleasant Avenue South in Surrey, North Dakota. So if you'd like to attend and learn about severe weather in and around the Surrey area, be sure to go to City Hall tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. We've got a nice sky in the Bismarck, Mandan area. Conditions are dry for now. Still a bit chilly, 51 there, 48 in Williston, 46 in Minot, as well as Dickinson. The wind remains light out of the south and east, becoming more southerly overnight, and your morning commute calls for decent conditions with temperatures just slightly above freezing. I'll have your complete forecast and more coming up later in the news.
Thanks so much, Henry. Williston police say Friday's shooting victim was shot 13 times, yet is in fair condition. They say security video shows attempted murder suspect DeJounte Smith firing several shots outside Outlaws Bar and Grill. Prosecutors say Smith then threw away an apron he was wearing and the gun he used outside the Clarion Hotel, then changed his clothes at Famous Dave's. Smith appeared in court this afternoon where his probation was revoked for a previous crime, and his bond was set at $1 million. The Donnybrook Park Board met for the first time today since one of its members was charged for making a fake Make-A-Wish campaign to get new park equipment. The members did not know the campaign wasn't real and, under advisement of an attorney, decided not to take any action for now. A lawsuit filed by the company that built the Dakota Access Pipeline against Greenpeace has been moved from federal court to North Dakota State Court. Energy Transfer Partners maintains Greenpeace and others should be held responsible for trying to disrupt pipeline construction and damaging the company's reputation and finances. Greenpeace accuses ETP of using the legal system to bully critics. And the public will get the chance to give their input on the proposed $15 million natural gas liquids pipeline in McKenzie County. One Oak wants to build an 11-mile pipeline with a 20,000 barrels per day capacity to connect the Targa Badlands plant with their planned Demicks Lake pipeline. The Public Service Commission hearing is at 9 a.m. on Friday, May 17th at the Little Missouri Inn and Suites in Watford City. Well, the State Department of Environmental Quality says an underground pipeline leaked about 1,900 barrels of produced water in Dunn County, impacting pasture land. XTO Energy says the installation of an electrical pipeline caused the spill on April 25th, 27 miles southwest of Mandaree. And Senators John Hoeven and Kevin Cramer reintroduced legislation to extend the refined coal tax credit that incentivizes power plants to pre-treat or refine coal to improve efficiency and decrease emissions. Cramer says 27% of the U.S. and 66% of North Dakota's electricity is generated by coal. The bill extends existing facilities' eligibility by 10 years and creates a 3-year window for new facilities to qualify. State Auditor Josh Gallion says he's not sure about running for re-election next year, partially because of a bill requiring legislators approve performance audits in an effort to increase communication. Gallion says the changes don't just affect performance audits, but also those that they have to outsource, which impacts their operations as a whole. He says he'll decide by the end of the year if he's running. And the nation is recognizing small businesses this week, which the U.S. Small Business Administration says accounts for 98.8% of businesses in North Dakota. Kinsey Faulkner, owner of Cuckoo's Nest in downtown Bismarck, says competing with online shopping is a struggle. Brian Ritter with the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber EDC says the workforce shortage is also a huge issue. Both want to see more support for local businesses.
Yes, and I think it's because people were like
you spend with them. Stay back here in Bismarck and Mandan. They're going to support other businesses. They're going to pay wages to employees that live in this community. They're going to support charities and nonprofits in Bismarck and Mandan.
Ritter says the personal feel of smaller businesses is advantageous. And it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber EDC is awarding their Crystal Apple Award to celebrate area teachers. The first winner is Jake Kincaid, a PE teacher at Red Trail Elementary, who created an adaptive sports program for special education students. It allows them to take the time they need in the gym to develop physical skills. Part of his inspiration was his brother, who was heavily involved in the Special Olympics.
I was able to, have a different relationship with him through sports, and I was really kind of missing that with some of our special education students at the school. So it's allowed me to have a better relationship with them and also obviously help them as well.
The chamber gives out 5 crystal apples every year. This is their 32nd year. A man at Lucky's in Bismarck bet money on the Kentucky Derby underdog that was named the winner, but left behind his ticket. Maximum Security crossed the finish line first, but was disqualified for interference, and Country House won the roses. Bradley King and his wife made friends with a man named Ed, who bet on Country House, but left before the reversal was announced without his ticket.
He's gone. We don't know where he is. We don't know how to get a hold of him. And I've got this ticket for him that's worth over $600. And so I want to find Ed. Can you help me find Ed?
He says Ed is about 60 years old, has white hair, a white trimmed beard, and round wire-rimmed glasses, and lives about 40 miles south of town. Call South Prairie Rose Dental Office if you have any information. Maximum Security's owner told the Today Show this morning that he plans to file an appeal with the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission, saying their horse should be declared the rightful winner. He also said the horse will skip the Preakness Stakes on May 18th. But coming up, tensions are high in the Middle East. Now the U.S. is sending a message.
And it's still a little chilly out there, but don't worry, things are going to eventually warm up. We'll be back with more West Dakota Fox News at 9 in just a minute.
Your latest weather forecast is here on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
A home filled with feces landed a Bismarck woman in jail. During a walkthrough, Bismarck police found 2 children and 7 dogs living among trash, mold, and dog feces in 33-year-old Shonda Miller's home that she hadn't cleaned in over a month. Officers say the smell was unbearable and they saw a child leave the home shoeless with feces on his feet. Miller is accused of not letting the dogs out because she had too many and didn't want the landlord to see them. She's charged with child and animal neglect. And a game of darts at a bar ended with 1 man behind bars. 33-year-old Evan Reich is accused of slamming an open pocket knife on a table in front of a woman who was cheering for her friends who were playing darts against him at a bar in Bismarck. Reich told Bismarck police he didn't want to hurt anyone and didn't intend to scare the woman, who told police she had never been so fearful in her life. Reich is charged with terrorizing. Bismarck police arrested a man over the weekend who shot at a house with a BB gun because he says the people were spying on him. Prosecutors say 41-year-old Jason Bechtold threatened to kill a man inside. Police say Bechtold told them the other people shot at him first and used drones to spy on him. He's charged with terrorizing and attempted aggravated assault. Michael Cohen, President Trump's former attorney, reported to prison today. His legal team failed in attempts to delay by saying he found a hard drive with material that could be helpful to investigators. He'll serve a 3-year sentence at the Federal Correctional Facility in Otisville, New York, for financial crimes and lying to Congress. And on Friday, President Trump said Special Counsel Mueller's congressional testimony was up to Attorney General William Barr. But after the House Judiciary Committee tentatively set it for May 15th, he changed his mind. He tweeted yesterday that Democrats are looking for a redo because Mueller couldn't prove collusion between his campaign and Russia. And that same committee is also planning a contempt hearing for Barr on Wednesday. That's after he skipped last week's hearing and missed today's deadline to give Congress the unredacted Mueller report, which Barr says he's not legally allowed to provide without a court order. If they vote to hold him in contempt, the issues would go before the full House. Now, after troubling warnings from Iran, the U.S. is deploying a carrier strike group and a bomber task force. U.S. officials say specific and credible information suggests Iranian forces were targeting U.S. forces in Syria, Iraq, and at sea. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says they're trying to get the Islamic Republic of Iran to behave like a, quote, normal nation, and have been working on this for quite some time.
We have continued to see activity that leads us to believe that there's escalation that may be taking place. And so we're taking all the appropriate actions, both from a security perspective and well as our ability to make sure that the president has a wide range of options in the event that something should actually take place.
There's no indication any action by Iran is imminent. But things are heating up between Gaza and Israel. More than 600 rockets and projectiles were fired over the weekend, killing 23 people in Gaza and 4 in Israel. A militant group in Gaza says a ceasefire is now in effect, Israel indicating their acceptance by lifting restrictions on civilians living near the Gaza border. And North Korea appears to have test-fired its first missiles since 2017, amid denuclearization talks with President Trump. Now, they appear to be short-range ballistic missiles that South Korean officials say flew somewhere between 43 to 125 miles before crashing into the sea. Some say Kim Jong-un is trying to pressure the president into furthering negotiations, but don't think North Korea plans to get rid of its missiles.
North Korea is not going to give up their nuclear weapons, but what they want is a kind of deal where international sanctions come off, and in exchange for that, they don't give things up, but they stop tests like this.
President Trump tweeted that Kim wouldn't break his promise and that a deal will happen. Well, sunshine going to happen this week, Henry.
Hey, well, right now we've got the cloud cover across the region. That's going to continue to increase overnight as we look at a few of our Skywatch cameras. Minot, you've got the clouds as well as Williston, but we're still looking at a little bit of daylight as our days get a little longer as far as daylight is concerned anyway. As far as the Bismarck-Mandan area, we're talking about cloud cover as well for you. Chilly conditions across the region, including Dickinson. One thing about Dickinson and the southwestern viewing area is that you will see a little bit of clearing overnight. In addition to that, with the light wind, you may get a little bit of fog overnight and in the morning across southwestern North Dakota. So just be mindful of that. Skywarn meeting held in Surrey. That will be tomorrow. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall. So if you live in Surrey or surrounding areas, you are welcome to attend this free meeting that will be held by the National Weather Service. They will be able to answer any questions you have, whether related to spring or summer severe weather. They will be there to help. Highs for today, not all that high. We should have been in the mid-60s. Instead, Minot was only at 55, only 56 in Bismarck and Williston. Dickinson only 53 and didn't even reach the 50s in Baker and Hettinger. You only reached the mid to upper 40s, whereas right now you're both already down to 39 degrees. 46 in Minot, 51 in Bismarck, and 48 in Williston. Dickinson, you have that southerly wind. All of us have a south wind for right now, anywhere between 5 to 10 miles per hour, so that's all thanks to high pressure. Now, one thing I'd like to let you know, zooming in a little bit closer, let you know about the temperature trend as we continue into the middle part of May. It's going to be cooler than normal, but gradually things are going to warm up before you know it. We just got to give it some time. High pressure keeping our atmosphere rather stable for the time being. That pushes off to the south and east for tomorrow. We start to get a little bit more southerly wind, a little bit of moisture plunging in as well, and that will give a chance of showers for tomorrow, especially across the far south near the international border and far southwestern North Dakota. Elsewhere, we're talking about chilly conditions nonetheless, with highs once again only in the 50s. Weather in motion, temperatures at least above freezing for tonight, at least in the lower 30s, above freezing. Southeast wind 5 to 10 as we get into the lunchtime hour, nearing 50 degrees. A few showers, like I said, across the far southwest, making their way into the region. After that, we're talking about mainly dry conditions elsewhere, but temperatures are going to be trying to reach 60 degrees, but we've got a better chance of that later in the week. Morning lows right at that freezing mark. Cloud cover continues to increase. Highs in the 50s, even a few 60s across the far west, but better chances of 60s will come into play by the end of the week. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are looking to be pretty decent, Anna.
Thanks so much, Henry. Well, we rely on it to protect us, but is it actually harming us? A warning the FDA is taking seriously. Next. The Bismarck Cancer Center is encouraging people to wear specific colors each day this week to raise awareness of cancer prevention and early detection. Today's color for Project Hope is pink to raise awareness of breast cancer. Doctors encourage women to do monthly self-exams and, starting in their early 40s, get an annual mammogram. North Dakota expects to see nearly 600 new cases this year. The North Dakota Cancer Prevention and Control Program was awarded more than $2.5 million from the U.S. Department of Health. Senator Kevin Cramer announced the grant today, which will be used for early detection of breast and cervical cancer and comprehensive cancer prevention and control. Jim Hill Middle School students in Minot are doing their part through the Pennies for Patients fundraiser. They raised nearly $850 in change for blood cancer research. One classroom won a pasta party, which they donated to the staff at the Trinity Cancer Care Center. One student said she hopes this small act of kindness can inspire others to follow suit.
We're trying to tell them that we appreciate what they do, and it feels pretty good to actually give back to them.
Kennedy and 4 other students brought the pasta party to the Cancer Care Center. Now, what's been considered a preventative measure for skin cancer may be a health hazard itself. A new study found 4 common sunscreen ingredients can enter the bloodstream at dangerous levels after just 1 day of use and stay in the body for at least 24 hours, triggering a government safety inspection. Barrier sunscreens containing zinc oxide or titanium dioxide don't include the chemicals in question. Well, these Beavers had a lot to celebrate this weekend. And of course, there were tacos. Their story next. Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, but these Beavers were also celebrating their birthday. So, of course, wildlife officials at Northwest Trek Wildlife Park in Washington State fed them tacos. They were filled with veggies and made quite the mess, but they're a favorite treat for this little family. They finished the leftovers today. We know it's terrible. My birthday was also yesterday, but I had no tacos.
Oh, you didn't? Well, happy belated birthday.
Well, thank you very much.
Had to do some tacos.
Oh, yeah.
Weather-wise, we are going to be talking about at least cloud cover for tomorrow. Some of us will start out on the clear side, but clouds are going to be on the increase. Temperatures are going to be right around freezing to start, but then we rise up into at least the upper 50s and a few lower 60s. Across the southwest, you're going to be a little bit cooler because of the clouds and the slight chance of precipitation for you. But give it until at least the end of the week into the weekend, 60s and even 70s will make a return to our forecast.
Well, that weekend looks fabulous. Is it going to stay that way for a little bit after that?
We can just hope so.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that. That looks nice.
It does.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 9.